Yeah, if it
Okay.
comes back at 2, that would be great. I don't want it to cut.
Okay, so everyone, we are going to go live on Facebook via the Code Girls Facebook page. And before we officially start with the training, I would like to introduce what Code Girls is all about. And I would also like to introduce Miss Fila Fangula. And she has very generously taken out time for us today. So primarily Code Girls is all about trainings. We do technical trainings, and the purpose is to bridge the gap between academia and, the real work world where you actually do the job. So there's a lot of theoretical knowledge when you're in school or in college, you're learning a lot of that, but how this actually gets done, the doing part of it. So that's where we focus. We want you to develop those skills and not get overwhelmed by the work when you actually enter the industry. So it's our mission that we want to bridge the gap between industry and academia and make things easy for everyone, especially for girls. In the Code Girls Bootcamp, we focus on girls. In today's training, there might be some boys joining us also, and everyone's welcome. So Consulnet is the parent organization. Consulnet Corporation is the parent organization where we do trainings for everyone, girls, boys, all ages, and especially there are corporate trainings where people from different companies get trained on specific technologies. And Code Girls is one initiative where we felt that there was a lot of gap. Girls faced a lot of gap in the industry. They were not met with a lot of opportunities. So we tried making things easy for them. So now today's discussion, IBMC has been very, very kind to offer us these workshops. We did one last in July. How many of the participants have joined now? Yeah, I see people are joining still. So Miss Pila is a developer and speaker, advocate, and Scrum Master for IBMZ globally. She also has experience in the information technology and services industry. She has professional skills in databases, IT strategy management, SAP, ERP, mainframes, program, and project management. So this is a very brief intro of her. She has a lot more depth in her portfolio, and I would like her to herself explain about her work and what they do at IBM and introduce her organization and herself. Welcome, Ms. Phila. Miss
Thank you
Pila.
so
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know if I've been
It's
pronouncing
okay.
your name right.
It's okay. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me to come speak to the Code Girls. I'm excited for today's challenge and topic, microservices and Docker, because it's something that I'm very passionate about. I've been talking about it in conferences and so forth. And I'm hoping that today I'll get a volunteer so we can get to see microservices in action. We'll do the hands-on. But firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Pila Fungula. I'm a Z developer advocate, which means I go around talking about IBM Z throughout the world. But I am based in South Africa, so I mainly focus on MIA, but my role is global. Today, I just want to notify everyone that I am currently experiencing load shedding. So there is a huge chance that my phone will die because I'm using it as a connector for data. My laptop is charged, but my phone battery is flat now. So there is a possibility that I might drop off, but I'm hoping that we'll get electricity back soon as per schedule. If I drop, I want to make sure that everyone is equipped with all the resources that are important to you in terms of scaling up yourself, getting the free training that IBM has to offer, and also the hands-on. But I'll try by all means to cover as much material, and then maybe, hopefully, by the time it drops, I would have covered all the theory part. As mentioned, my role is a developer advocate, so I go around talking about IBMZ. And the reason why we are focused, we have this ecosystem team, global team that is focused on scaling up people on IBMZ is it is a scarce skill throughout the world. So you in Pakistan, if you get these skills, and you have these certificates that you can earn for free, and you post it on LinkedIn, there is a chance that you might be employed, if not by Pakistan, because maybe we might not have so many customers on IBMZ in Pakistan, but you can work globally because there's a scarce skill throughout the world. And hence that role. I'm also a Scrum Master. What a Scrum Master is just a person that helps the team learn agile principle and help the team focus on the different they call it practices, and make sure that the team is doing it accordingly. So failing fast, failing forward, making sure that you are doing things, and then if something doesn't work, you change and look at another way. So I'm the Scrum Master for the skills team. But today I want to talk about the microservices and Docker. I first want to maybe tell you a bit of history about myself. So Mani has just mentioned the most important thing about skills. When I was in university, before I graduated, I was very fortunate that I got offered a job. But even then, the things that we're teaching us at university, as much as it is amazing, great, it helps you to like start up your career, but you cannot cover what is out there in the industry. And also, as much as they cannot cover, in fact, I think for all universities, it's very hard for them to cover, what is out there in the industry, because there's just so many big companies like IBM and other companies. Can you just mute yourself, Saeed? Thank you. So there's quite a lot of skills out there and industry technology that is so hard for you to grasp or actually be taught at university. But what happened to me is when I graduated, I got this job. I was excited as a SAP consultant, but I didn't know what SAP was, and I got to learn at the job, which is obviously great, because when you start out, they understand that you don't know the skills, but it wasn't something that I loved and enjoyed. I love coding, I love different technology and all the things that I'm doing currently. And SAP, some people call it SAP, and some people call it SAP, which is an ERP system. It's great, but I guess, not all of us like the same thing. So I love my job because I get to share industry technology that is freely available for you while you're still in university, getting yourself exposed to these technology and understanding them, and also finding out what do you like, what do you enjoy doing, and then branching towards that. And so I will share on the slide, on the chat, all the links for you that are freely available in terms of training. You can get a certificate. You can decide which career path you want to take. So I'll start with the IBMZ side. We currently have a competition. Let me just share my screen. This is a competition, right? I don't know if you can see my screen now. You can. I'm assuming. Excuse me. I'm assuming you can.
Yes. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Okay. So this is the link that I'll share with you on the chat. So this is for the competition that we have. It's a student contest. And I know it's quite late for you. It's ending on the 1st of January. So what happens here is you have to start with the introduction of IBMZ, and then you complete the concepts badge in order for you to do this competition. If you complete this competition and you get to win, we choose one winner from each, or three winners from each region, and you give them a prize. That's $1,000 prize, and that's what you win, right? And which is great for you in terms of monetary, but you're also gaining skills. So these badges that you're collecting are going to help you maybe get another job, or a job in the industry when it comes to IBMZ, depending on where you are currently. Right. So this is a competition. I know that I'm telling you about it now, and it's ending in, let's say, 8, 9 days from now. But that's freely available. If you don't get to complete it, you still do the fundamentals and the concepts. So you're getting these badges either way, and they're touching on Python, DB2, COBOL, you name it, everything that runs on IBM. I also want to share this other link. This is called Skills Build. This is for anyone that is, the link that I shared with you is for students, but there's also a link for educators. So if you're wanting to learn any skills on anything when it comes to technology, so your DevOps, your quantum, your data science and so forth. This is the link where it will help you get skilled up. You get a certificate from IBM if you complete the course, and obviously you have to write a test so they can check if you understand the material, and then you get a badge. So these are free training for you. And then lastly, there's cognitive class. This is also IBM courses. This is now touching on only, like, your latest, your upcoming, or your trending emerging technologies, which is your data science, your quantum, all the different tooling that is out there. This is also freely available for you, and you can just, as long as you complete the badge, you get a certificate. So there's people, facilitators that are talking about the technologies on video, and also you get to do the hands-on, which I think is great for people like us who love the technical part of it and understanding the technology. Right, so I've shared these three. I think the last one is for today. If you want to get a badge, you have to go to this last link. This is for you joining the Student Hub. So if you join the Student Hub, and then you can then claim a badge from this link that I shared with you. So it's in the same link that I shared with you. So that's the most important thing. You joining the Student Hub, and then afterwards you can then get the badge. The badge. The badge is more like a certificate. You can download it. You can share it on your socials. Okay, so I think I've done all the admin for now. I do want to share the last one, which is on our hands-on today. If I don't get to speak up until the end, I would have loved if we can get a volunteer that will share their screen, and I will direct them on how to do this microservices banking app. Because that's what was going to show you, or help you understand it even more in terms of you doing the actual work and understanding microservices in a way that you see it and experience it. Okay, so I've shared all the links. Now I want to just talk about microservices, and I hope I can finish that part. And then, so I don't have slides when it comes to microservices. Let me just share with you what I do have when it comes to microservices. The reason being I don't have slides is I normally feel like when it comes to some technology, you can, as much as you can, just go through the slides. You wanna see it, right? And like the slides wouldn't have made it done justice for microservices. But it will, I will share the resources that I've used. So here you can see the different books that I went through and the courses that I read or did. And then in order for me to complete the understanding of microservices, the reason why I have this picture of myself, I was in varsity in my first year here, and I remember, like, for me, especially, I went to university to do accounting. So I was going to become accounting, be an accountant. And then we were forced to actually do computer science. And this was my first time using a computer, but also doing, doing computer science. So I didn't do well. And I remember I failed my first module in my first year, which meant it was my first time failing anything. So I ended up staying in the labs for hours, just trying to understand this thing that is now challenging me. And we were given code, right? So, well, we were told, you must code something, like code an application where you're getting the person to log into the ATM, putting their password, and then obviously accessing their bank details. And so what we then did, like, I don't know how, well, you guys are quite young, younger than me. So that was in 2010. And then, so when I was writing the code, we're using monolithic, which is, we had all our code in one place. So if there was something wrong, so you run your code and then it works, right? And then at some point it stops, and you don't even know where to go, because it doesn't show you exactly where the syntax is. So you'll have to go through each and every line and try to figure out what did you do wrong, where and how. So that's what happens with monolithic application. You have to go around and figure out what's going on where. And with that, that meant that I would just have to go through each line. But it was actually frustrating, because you don't know where you did the incorrect thing. So normally when people are creating application in a lot of companies out there, they're still using monolithic, where their code base is in one bunch, right? So it's just a long list of that code, and that code is supposed to process, get to a point where it does something, and so forth. It's just like the application that we were creating. But then if there's something wrong, you need to go and check each line, or maybe see, okay, it ran up until this stage, and now maybe from here I need to check. So with monolithic application, a lot of companies, obviously, developers were frustrated by the whole thing of them creating applications using monolithic. And then microservices was then introduced. I was hoping that I can draw like on the whiteboard here, but since I'm using the web browser option, um, it's not showing like the where you write on your dashboard. But anyway, I'll just explain it off by on my head, and try, and hopefully that you understand. But if you have any questions, stop me anytime, and ask me those questions. Okay, so let me see, because I don't want it to block, so it won't show. Okay. So that monolithic is when the application or the code for that application is in one place, and you have to look at each part. And it's also highly dependent, right? So if you change something, let's say the customer decides to, guys, let's change the way it looks, or let's change the inputs, if this then that, let's change that, then it will affect the whole library. All right, so it's very frustrating for that. Then that means that you have to run all the tests, and it's one big deployment. So now you have to deploy everything every time you want to want to test that part. And it's also deploying a very sizable piece, right? And I mean, if you're going to test after you created this whole bunch of code in this one code base, and there's a high risk, right? So there's a high degree of risk. You might have destroyed something, now the whole code is not working, and just because you change one line, it might affect the whole thing, and you might not get your code to be working. It's also very frustrating. I remember I used to sit for hours in the labs, but also maybe even spend the whole night there because it's part of my well, to get my results for my tutorials and so forth. I had to make sure that it works, and that was very frustrating. And even some companies out there, in fact most companies out there are still using the monolithic application view of them having this one code base and then creating their application. Another drawback of monolithic is so like I learned Python when I was in university. I don't know about you, maybe you've done C++. I guess Python is quite new. So maybe most of you have used Python. Just tell me on the chat so I don't feel like I'm the only one talking. What language are you using in your well, what skills are you learning, like in terms of languages? Which one do you have? C plus. Please see, I think you can share the whiteboard now. Okay, let's see. So it doesn't, maybe it needs me to install it because I'm using the browser option, right?
Okay.
Let me just install it and then I can try, and because I feel like it is, it will help. Okay, someone has said C plus. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to install it. That's why I'm typing so loudly. Please excuse me. Okay, so while it's installing in the background, I will be sharing my dashboard and trying to do the whiteboard, which is going to be way easier for my illustration. Okay, so yeah, we talked about the fact that right, so you have to have used that one language, and someone said they're using C++ in the university. And and so, okay, when I was talking about languages, the reason why I wanted to ask about the languages is if you're using monolithic, you for your code base you have to use that. One person said, I think it's written ZM. Unfortunately, I cannot see your whole name, but you will have to use C plus for the whole thing, right? For the whole application. And just remember now, with the features of the different languages, you would need to maybe something is actually better in a different language. Let's say Python is helping you get those features that maybe C plus doesn't have. So you are forced to use that one language because you are using monolithic application. And so that's the restriction that they have. And then another example of monolithic, so it's fine, I will get to the draw board and just show you in the visual, right, of maybe how it looks monolithic, how monolithic looks, and how microservices look when you are looking at the code base. Another thing is, let's say this Black Friday, right? We just recently had Black Friday in November. I don't, it depends on the country, but what happens there is everyone is trying to buy things online, right? And then with your application, let's say like um, Amazon, but Amazon, I was going to use Amazon for another example, because they actually use microservices. So that's not a good example to say. Let's say they are doing, let's say maybe Take a Lot. I'm just making an example. Normally, these companies are using microservices, and I'll tell you why. So if there's Black Friday and you're having a lot of people coming into the website buying things at the same time because maybe it's like Cyber Monday and things are cheaper for just that time, then if there's a peak in traffic on that website and it's hitting the same time, what happens with monolithic is you have to make sure that the whole application is scaled up, right? So you're scaling up all the resources. So it's demanding more, taking more of the resources, but also even the hardware. So you're scaling the whole application. And by the time it actually gets to the part where it's performing the right way, where everyone is allowed to go in and into the website and buy things. um, it's like people would have maybe forgotten because they were standing or waiting in the website and it's not doing what it's supposed to. By the time it actually start working, customers will have, lost interest and gone somewhere else. We all know, especially us, people who were introduced to all these technologies, we are very urgent. Like, we like things that are now, right? We want something that is at the time that we want it. And if it's like 10 minutes later, we already lost interest and we go to another website and go buy the things that we want. So that means if customers out there are still using monolithic, they might lose customers, right? They might not get people to buy things when they want to. So in South Africa, it always happens every year. This one airline decides that they will sell flights for 5 rand. I think it's so ridiculous. So 5 rand. I'm not sure how much in the Pakistani currency, but it's so cheap that you can. It's like you don't even use it for spending money anymore. So they just creating that buzz so people can go there and buy flights. And I mean, you can't buy a flight if you were not planning on traveling. Unless you were, then you buy this flight. And now, if you were not, then you already use that airline and so forth. So they're just creating that buzz. And so with that, I mean, just imagine if they did that. Like, companies out there do want customers to register on the applications and get that information. Now they can market to them, right? It's just a strategy, a marketing strategy. So what if they did this whole competition, and when people are trying to get in and get that 5 rand discount, they cannot get in. That means the reliability of that customer will have, like, people won't believe in it anymore, or actually trust it, and they would have lost customers. So with microservices, so I just told you about this one. It's an architectural view. So monolithic is how the application is created, how it's viewed, or how it's structured, right? When it comes to microservices, instead of you having your application in one code base in this one place, you make it in smaller parts. So remember when I talked about Amazon, you have Netflix, you have a lot of companies out there, including Uber, that use microservices. So what they do is, instead of creating this application in one code base, they make it in smaller application, making it in, let's say, let's look at Amazon, for example. Uh, is it sharing? Amazon. Amazon website. Okay. I guess you can still see my screen. So when you look here, right, you can see the different departments. So what they'll then do is they'll create this electronics as a small application, and then they'll create the computer as a smaller part also. So when you are as a consumer going to the Amazon website, you're seeing it as a whole, but each part of it is created separately. That means that you can then decide, well, the developers can then decide that they want to make the Amazon Music maybe created in Python, and in, let's say, the computers created in C++, because the features that are needed in each are different, or maybe like the plugins from the different languages are actually better for this. So that's how microservices is, well, what microservices is all about is creating this whole application, but in smaller parts. So what happens then is, let's say, for example, the people, the developers that are creating computer tab, have to update the, let's say, the language, have to update the pricing on these computers, maybe they're going on sale. When you as a consumer go into the application, you can still work on it, and maybe it might give you some issues when you click on the computer. You might see that it's not loading, but the whole application is still working. So other consumers that are wanting to go to smart homes, wanting to go to different parts, they can still work or go to it. And that's the best thing about microservices, is the architectural view allows for different languages, but also it's not dependent on each other. You can work on the different parts of the app and or update it, and it will not affect the application, the whole application. I'm sure you have seen in the past where you go into a website and it says, sorry, we're under construction. Um, and that means they're using monolithic. They had to take down the whole application in order for them to update the information, to change everything on the application. Whereas with microservices, they know that even if they're updating one part of the application, you can still go in. When it comes to security, when it comes to the monolithic side, because it's seen as one application, that means you have to put the same security features for the whole application, regardless of the importance of the different parts of the application. And how I can explain this better is, if you look at the monolithic uh, application, you're seeing this as one, right? So you have the customer information, you have the things that they bought, so things from add to carts, and then their financial details about maybe their card, whatever payment they're using. It's seen as one. This whole application is seen as one. So the security you're putting outside will then secure everything that is in there. But you don't want to secure things that are not that important. In fact, you want to make sure that for important parts like your financial document, financial records of your customers are even more secure. That no cyber hacker can go into there and take that information. On the on the microservices part, you can actually do or put security features for different parts of the application. So you can then decide, okay, I know the customer's information is quite important, so I will put more security features there. And even for the payments method, we want to make sure that it has more security feature. That's what you'll do. And then the other information, you'll put security, but not as much as is needed, right? And I didn't mention the fact that it's not dependent on each other. And another thing about microservices is, let's say now you have a peak, so that Black Friday, also in the microservices part, where you're getting everyone trying to go in the website and buying stuff. What you can do on a microservices application is only scale up what is going to be needed, right? So you're not scaling up the whole application, you're not using resources that you shouldn't, like your hardware. You're only scaling up what is needed, right? So those are the difference between the two in terms of scalability and the dependent on each other. Someone said Java. Okay, you guys are doing different things, different languages in universities, which is great. Okay, so we did talk about loosely coupled, the fact that it's not dependent on each other, the ability to function without the other, and also we talked about the fact that it's not going down when you have the application. It won't be it will still be working, right? So when you go to that website, you'll still be able to see the actual application, and you will then be able to use it, unlike those websites where you're trying to go into, then it says, sorry, we're under construction. And so use cases when it comes to microservices will be businesses that cannot afford to go down, right? Remember we said you get frustrated when someone tells you the website of their company and you go to it and it says, sorry, under construction. You probably won't go there. I think like we're all so busy now that we don't have time to go to another to the website again and check if it's up, unless you really, I don't know, like you really want to go there, but you forget to do so many things because we're so modern in terms of technology. We're doing so many things online. I did mention like different companies that are using microservices right now, like Amazon. And then I also mentioned the fact that it gives you flexibility in terms of the languages that you want to use. So you're not forced to do, like this one person said, they do Java. So you're not forced to create the whole application in Java. You can create it in Python, or part of it in Python, part of it in Java, part of it in C++. So you have the flexibility in adding database and tools and features that will allow you to create the things that will make it more efficient and effective for you to be, to have that business uh, agility. But also with, with such critical workloads, and with the upcoming technology that is always up there, and customers are wanting to make sure that they embracing these new technologies, microservices actually allows that for their developers, so developers can adapt to new technology and make sure that they're able to be to be more effective in adapting those new technology. We talked about the security, and then let me just stop there and find out if you guys are fine right now, and then also me checking my Zoom so I can share the dashboard or the whiteboard. Any questions so far? So quiet. Are you guys just waiting for the festive season now? Or holidays? I'm not sure. So we're all understanding what is microservices and what is monolithic. Any questions there? Very quiet. Okay, I'm
I
still
think
trying.
I think
Okay.
Fila, you explained it really well. I am not from background. I do have a very little bit of it. I did my BECIS back in 2010, but ever since then, I have not been brushing up at all. But I was able to understand. And I'm assuming people are actually thinking, because this is something, available and for free. So a lot of times participants do get lazy. They tend to go and recheck the details later on from the online video. So yeah,
Recording in progress.
it would be excellent if some of you will at least, let us know. You can answer us.
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice. But anyway, thank you for that. I now can share. Oh, things will drop. It will drop and then come back. It's so irritating. So please excuse me for like 2 minutes. It will drop
Never
before.
mind, take your
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so while I also can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So while I was also just updating my well, now moving to the Zoom that is on the desktop, it also I also just checked on my phone, and it's quite low, and the electricity is not back yet, which is horrible. But I'm almost done, which is good. And I just want to share with you just those points with you, right? Where is it? Okay. Hope I can draw. Okay. Okay. So this is how I want to illustrate the points before I move over to what I wanted to mention about the drawbacks of, I've said such amazing things about microservices, but, with everything, with every technology or architectural view, there will be, drawbacks. And, we always, like, technology is always being enhanced and made better, but it doesn't, no technology or architectural view comes without its drawbacks. So I know I might have, when I was trying to explain the monolithic, you might have not, as much as I tried to explain it, but you want to see it like visually. So this part where you see the block, this one block, it's where you have your code. So that's how monolithic is. You just have this one code, and that code is creating the application. So it's an architect, it's a view. So monolithic is the view, right? It's the architectural view of it. And microservices is the architecture, how it's created or how it's made. So when you look at microservices, which is the block next to it, instead of you having that code base in just one place where it's doing all the different parts and then changing and making so that it's doing the different or doing what it's supposed to, on a microservices, we're making it in smaller parts. So I did explain that, let's say this part is your customer information. So maybe I'm a customer at Amazon, my name, my surname, all my details about me, where I live, where it's supposed to be delivered. And in this part is the different departments. So the computer, the smart homes, the different departments that we saw in them will be created in smaller parts. And you can then decide that you want to use maybe Java for this one, maybe Python, maybe C++. You can decide as a developer what you want to do for your application. The reason why you want to use different languages is maybe because they have some capabilities that the other language doesn't have, or maybe you're also stronger in that language. So let's look at Amazon. Amazon is quite huge, and they can employ all these different developers, but some that they employ, maybe they were looking for a skill in Python or Java, so they'll employ that person, and they won't have to learn the language that is already there, because whatever they'll be asked to do, they'll do it in that language. This is also allowing them to add tools, add any database that they want to, because let's just look at Shaista. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Let's say Shaista is creating this part of the application where she's talking about looking at the computer side or selling the computers. And maybe Shaista then thinks, there's in Python, there's these plugins that I can put in there. There's a database that I want to do. And she can do so, right? Because it doesn't affect the other parts. But how it communicates with each other, because at the end of the day, it needs to, you as an individual that is coming into the website, you need to see it as one. It's communicating via API. So it's sending messages to that part. So here we have information about myself, and then now I'm buying things from the computer side. Then it's sending API, so it's sending messages and saying, hey, she just bought a computer, add it to her cart, do this and do that, and then it will reflect on my profile, right? Whereas the monolithic is just one part. The consumer or the person that is buying things will then buy the different parts, and then it sees it as a whole. And if you want to change anything, it affects the other part, which is what we mentioned. We did talk about the security, so you can then decide you put bigger security here, because you know that that is crucial information. You can then put more security on this part because you know that is the payment information. And these other ones you just put like just a security feature so no one can see. We all know when it comes to cyber or things that are online, there's always someone hearing or seeing what we're doing online. So we want to make sure that it's safeguarded for our customers. So those are the things that I mentioned in terms of the different offerings. Then now let's look at the drawbacks of microservices. So microservices, firstly, remember we're sending all these different API that are being sent on, and they're talking to each other, they're communicating and saying, hey, do this and do that. That can cause a lag, right? Because there's so many that are being sent at the same time. The blue node is trying to send something to the red node. It takes a while, which means that you as a person that is buying things might see that it's not adding that thing, or maybe it's adding it twice because you keep on clicking, and now you see things that are like done double, or it's not, yes, as mentioned, it's not doing what you wanted to do. That's because it's taking time to send that information to the other part. Also, microservices is not easy, right? Remember, you're having all these different technologies embedded in there, tools that are embedded. It's not easy to implement in a company. So smaller companies can then, a lot of companies out there want to implement microservices, but the issue is the skills. Who will do that? Because implementing it is not that easy. And it's also costly, right? You need to know that they have the skills that allow them to do this whole microservices view. The reason why you implement microservices in the company, let's say, just like IBM, I'm in South Africa, and just like my team, the team that I work in, the team that I'm part of, I'm living in South Africa. I'm the only one in MEA, and then there's one in Europe, one person in Europe, 3 people in Latin America, so Brazil, and then there's one person, well, there's like 3 people in US, or 4, and then 1 person in China. So look at all of us in different parts of the world, different time zone, and all that. Let's say we're working on this one code base, like the monolithic that I was telling you about. If I'm sending things like, let's say my midnight is like early morning for the US, and then they have to change things and I won't even see what I did, and they start doing things on top of that. That can cause confusion. It can even it won't even work because we're working on top of each other, right? Maybe my time zone colludes with in fact, China is normally like early. By the time I wake up, they're already like in the afternoon or something like that. And so it will not work because we're all in different time zones. We're geographically not in the same place. So our code will not be able to be processed correctly, and so forth. So those are some of the reasons why you implement microservices, not just because you can now implement new and emerging technology, but because you having developers in different parts of the of geos. But also we did mention the fact that you don't want your application to be down at any point in time. So if your business is quite crucial, that your website, your application is available all the time, then you would want to implement microservices, but it's not easy, right? So I'll stop sharing because I've explained the diagrams that I wanted to talk about, but I just want to also check on my notes and see if I've covered everything. So yes, I did mention when and why we want to move to microservices, and why companies shouldn't do it and when they should. The only part that I now have to cover is Docker, right? And I hope I can cover that. My phone doesn't die on me. It's 10%. But okay, let's see if that happens. So what is Docker, right? So Docker is an ecosystem when it comes to containers. When it comes to containers, I know you probably have heard this term, containers. There's a lot of companies out there that offers containers, but Docker has a bigger ecosystem. So a lot of developers have containers created under Docker, and they then able to, and they also have the support. It's an open source product. So what is containers? So when we talked about microservices, I hope I can go back to my whiteboard. I doubt it will show. Okay, yeah, good. Okay, so remember when we were talking about microservices and we said that you're creating these applications in smaller parts. So when you're creating them in smaller parts, remember, okay, let's first talk about containers. So in, well, my drawing is very bad, but you'll bear with me. I guess, oh, okay, I doubt I'll be able, okay. So let's say this is a boat. Okay, this is a boat, and in that boat cruise, you know those big ships that ship these containers, these huge containers. And I could just Google this because I know my drawing is just horrible. So let me say Docker. I think the sign of Docker just shows you, right? Yes. So this Docker image here, it shows you, right? And you can see these different containers. So these containers, you've probably seen them, and they carry information, or they carry, actually not information, they carry packages. They're wanting to take things maybe from South Africa to Pakistan, or maybe things from Pakistan to another part of the world. And so they put them in the big cruise or ship, and they're trying to export them. So what happens when it comes to, in terms of technology, now taking it back, if you are wanting to create your application, right, and then you're wanting it to run on the operating system, you create your code, and then you run it, right? You run it immediately onto, let's say in Linux, you run it onto that operating system and it will run. But if you're creating it into containers, what happens is you have in these containers, you have everything that you need. You have all your binaries and libraries for each application to be able to run as itself, by itself, right? But then, let's say I want to ship this laptop. I'm just making an example. I want to ship this laptop, and then I want to ship my water. Obviously, I can't put these two together. I can't put my water and my laptop into one container because it will spill over and damage my laptop. But then what I will then do is my water will have its own container, my laptop would have its own container, and then I'll put it in one bigger container because those all belong to me. So just now going back to technology, my water is, let's say, Python. So I'm creating this application in Python, and my laptop I'm creating in Java. I can't put Java and Python, create the commands, or creating something using both these two languages in one place. So I need to separate them in containers, put them in two different containers. So my Java code can have all the information that is needed in there, and for my Python, it's doing what it's supposed to. So if we look at microservices and then those small applications that you're creating, you want to make sure, let's say we did talk about our computer department. When we're creating that computer department, Shaista will be using Java, but we want to make sure that it's in a container, so it doesn't, it has all the information that is needed, But then let's say for my personal information, someone else, I'll say myself, Pila is creating that information in Python. But when it sees each other, it might conflict because it's not put in containers. So then you'll need containers to separate them, but they have binaries and libraries. And what happens with containers, the great thing I did mention, the fact that you can have different languages in each part of it. And then, so when I was talking about laptop and water, I was just saying that you putting them in containers where it has all the information that it needs and it's able to run regardless. Let's say I code on my laptop and I'm using Python, but when I'm sending that information, I'm sending it to Shaista and she is using a Windows machine. It won't work because I was writing it using on my laptop and on her laptop, it won't work. But with containers, it actually it goes there and it's able to run because it's on these containers, right? Any questions there so far? So quiet. Okay. Let's see the whiteboard. So we did talk about what is Docker, the containers that are in there, and how they run. So you will use containers when you are wanting to make sure that it able to communicate, but you also, you know, when you're using microservices and you using containers, it allows you to be able to create these smaller applications in different languages, and they work because they have all the information that is needed. And I mentioned that Docker is one big, well, it has a bigger ecosystem. So a lot of developers are creating the applications using Docker. So for example, let's say at university or any project that you're working on, hackathon and so forth, they say, let's create an application using any language, but I want that application to check the weather. You know, on a Docker Hub, you have a lot of code that is provided or created by either developers there, and they've uploaded on the Docker Hub, allows you to take or see how they created the code or what information they used, and then you can personalize it or create it in your own way. But you're getting the information from there, it's freely available. But obviously you need to look for the code that is verified and correct, because if you're taking code that is incorrect, it means that you'll sit there trying to debug it and look for the files. Why is it so difficult to use Docker yum file? Yum file. Javeria. Sorry, I'll try. I don't want to say your name incorrectly. If you can just explain when you're saying why is it difficult, what do you mean by difficult using that file? So it's open source. I don't know how can I try and explain if it's not difficult or not, but what is your experience in what you wanting to talk?
Javeria, go ahead. You can talk and ask your question.
Like the space has to be correct, or is it oh, is it, well, so it's an error. Yes. So okay, now I understand what you're saying. So you know what, I guess what, I don't know, like it depends on what you have to do on something, and it might be difficult because maybe the training is not provided for you because it's open source. Open source meaning it's freely available for you, but once you want to like customize it or get any support from them, then they will charge you or they want you to pay some subscription or fee. But yes, I mean, like some of these things, some of these tooling are not easy. I wouldn't say it's not easy because of maybe the work that I've done on like creating the Docker file and posting it. And it's just code patterns that I've done in the past. And for me, it wasn't challenging. But that's because it was already like code patterns are more something someone has done the work and I'm just copying that. So the reason why I'm saying it wasn't hard for me, it's because it was work provided. But I guess when you're working on it and you found the difficulty, but there's, I mean, online, there's a lot of user group that can help you in that, but I cannot justify why it's hard or not, because I haven't had that experience, but also I don't work on Docker that much. Sorry about that. But then okay, so if there's any other questions, let me know in the chat. But just wanting to go back into the tooling of microservices. So now you have these different containers. Let me just mute someone. Okay. So you have these different containers of you creating your application. So we did mention that, I mean, for each part of it, you're creating containers. And how many containers are you going to have? Even for that one computer part of the application, you might create a lot more, because there's different applications there. There's different, maybe if you buy a computer now, you choose Dell, now you choose, you know, the different brands that you have. So you'll use a lot of containers in them. Who manages these containers? So in each container, I was hoping that I will, just because of time, I mean, electricity issues, I was saving my battery, but I was looking for a Docker file so you can see what it looks like. I'm hoping that we can see it here. Yes, Docker. There's a Docker image, not a file. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is how it looks like. So it will say from so and so, and it will even direct and say, you know, if you're using a specific language or a tooling, it will say .python, .java, whatever. So it will call that application, and then it's writing the code. So remember, I mentioned that each Docker file or like containers have all the binaries and libraries. So all the information that is needed for the application to run, and it looks like this, and then you run it, it runs it in the background, and you're able to, it's able to execute. But just imagine, this hand up. Okay, I'll stop.
So did you actually share the file on? We cannot see the file. We can only see the whiteboard.
Yeah. Oh, the whiteboard. Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh, can you see it now? Sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. So from the hands-on for today, I just looked at the images, and I was able, because I was hoping that I'll find something that has Docker, so you can see Docker. Now I'm clicking on DevOps. How the Docker file would look like. So this is how it looks like. So it will say from this to that, and it will even show the language that you wanting to execute. So now let's say let's say it was, instead of .js JSON, it was showing Python, and it was even showing like Python version so and so. Now you need to update all these different languages to the latest, or maybe you want to change something in terms of networking, and all these containers that we had in our application, you need to do that for everything. What you then need is a tool that will help you with the orchestration of managing all these Docker files. So updating the networking, updating the software, the languages, and so forth. So that's what Kubernetes does. It helps you update your Docker your containers, not Docker, but your containers into what you needed to do. Because I mean, you can't be managing thousands of containers as a developer by yourself. And then I mentioned tooling in terms of Docker. I guess I've covered the part of Docker. What else when it comes to Docker? Yeah, I guess that's part of it. Any questions so far? Let me see. There's a question here. I want to know if new image is created and previous one is deleted. Deleted image will take place in machine on how to manage it. Oh, so now we're being technical. So what I will ask you to do is, because that's a technical question, but also maybe we can have like a one-on-one where we work together and do it, because the focus is on your Docker, on your containers. I can assist you. We can work on it together. Please talk to me on LinkedIn. I think I'm easier to get on LinkedIn, but I am on not leave per se, but like taking some time off for the festive from now up until the 28th. But do reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always willing to help, especially with the technical stuff. I am wanting to just focus on that next year, on the creating of content and on the hands-on stuff. Okay, cool. You're on LinkedIn. Okay, great. So looking at time, I was hoping we'll do the hands-on. We can start. I'm sitting at 7%, but we can start, but just know that my phone will die and there's no electricity yet. But let me just talk about the hands-on, right? So let me copy the link. I think I shared it already. Can I get a volunteer? So what I'm wanting to do here is for us to see microservices in action, right? So what this code pattern does is, in the background, someone has created this these documents. So you're doing git clone, so you're downloading the file into your laptop, and then from there you're going to API. Remember what we said about APIs? We said they're communicating between the different parts of the application, the smaller parts, and you're able to see the whole application. So we then go to API, developer portal. There, what we're doing is just creating, this is like automated. We're just creating the application, and then we're copying the secret code, the client secret, and then this client ID. So you're copying it onto maybe like a notepad on your laptop because you'll use it later. And then you're just subscribing to banking products. So the whole view of this application is us, seeing an individual in a bank, right? And we're seeing their details by using this banking product, but we can see only one part of the person's detail. Then whatever information we get from that part, we then take, let's say, their surname. Actually, their surname is so common, but we then take on their customer ID and we put it on again, and now it's showing us even more details about the customer. So the whole idea of this application is us seeing that even though the application is created in smaller parts, you are able to access the whole part about the individual. And then here, this is just the admin of just subscribing to the application. And then you need Node because you are doing it online and wanting to make sure that JavaScript is running in the background. And then you are moving in your laptop, you're moving to that folder, and then you are able to run it online. And online, then it will look like this, right? So this is a banking application. You put the customer, or it actually gives you options. You select the customer name, and it gives you information, and then maybe you'll get the account ID, and you put it on there, like on the banking accounts balance, and now you can see their balance. So it's interlinked, although it's made in smaller parts. So all this, like the customer contract, is created independent of each other, but it works as a whole. The banking account details and so forth, all these things are created separately but work as one. So that's what I was hoping we can do. Is there any volunteers? Hands up.
We might start taking names if nobody's going to volunteer. So at least we know from the questions that Myra and Javeria are quite interested in the subject.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so looking at time, and also we won't be able to complete it. Is it is it fine if we stop here and ask the or the guys to do this hands-on by themselves? I'm available on LinkedIn. Let me also share that
Okay,
slide.
somebody raised their hand. S- this is Samsung SM. You haven't named yourself, so we don't know who you are. But this person has raised his or her hand. You can
Okay.
unmute yourself and talk.
So, what I was going to ask is, since we've covered everything in terms of theory and all the links, that important links that we need to do, that will help us with our training, is then ask the team to everyone who's here to do it by themselves. And if they have any issues, they can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. And the reason why I'm asking that, instead of asking that person to do it, yes, we can do it in like less than an hour. It's quite quick. But my issue is, what if I drop off and then it's like dead silence? I don't know. What do you think? And then they feel like, they didn't complete it. I don't know. What do you think?
I would ask. I would like to probably share a link where they can, the video tutorial for doing the same. Is that possible? So that if anyone gets stuck somewhere.
Okay, so so there's no video online, but I can create it. I think when I have electricity, I can do that. Just create it and then send the link to you.
All
So
right. Never mind. And I think that the way you explained it, it might just be very simple for them to go and, do it on their own. So this person has not unmuted yet. So I don't know if he had a question or there was a point that he or she was trying to make. So yeah, we can wrap up over here.
Okay. Guys, so I've shared on chat my details on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is much better, but I do have the Twitter handle. I haven't been on Twitter for some time, but please use those details and link up with me. I always post about job opportunities within IBM, regardless of IBMZ or not. If there's anything that we're looking for, we do post. I do post. My focus is skills, so I also post about any skills training that we have available, that is freely available for anyone. And what else? Yeah, so I love technology. So anything that interests me in terms of technology, I just like, maybe, but not maybe, might not post. But do reach out if you need any assistance. And I am very responsive on LinkedIn. I think I check it like every day. And thank you for having me and being here in December, quite late. Looking forward to next year. Maybe then both of us would have better connectivity. I know last time it was Pakistan, you guys, and then now it's me. I guess we all understand each other's problems. But looking forward to next year. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Pila. It was a pleasure having you. With that, we're going to end the talk today. Thank you, everyone. Allah Hafiz.